Today on our 2014 Kia Optima, we're going to take a look at then show you how to install the CURT Custom Fit Class 1 Trailer Hitch Receiver. This offers an 1.25" opening. Its part number is C11025. Here's what the hitch looks like once we get it installed. As you can see, the end of it's about flush with the bumper. It's not so recessed in there that we can't use it for a lot of applications. It's not so far out we're going to be running into it all the time. We've got a nice narrow taper to the actual crossbar. It's a smaller round tube, so it's not all that big and bulky looking. Kind of a neat little hitch under the car. These are going to angle up right up to our mounting locations on each side. We do have the collar around the 1.25" opening here. That's going to be perfect for using the hitch immobilizer, or also if you want to use in your 1/2" pinhole here, the standard pin and clip that's going to come with it, or anti-rattle bolt hitch pin lock to secure your items. Whatever the case may be there, it should accept most of the 1/2" accessories. We're going to have 2 safety chain connectors, one on each side. That's for when you're hauling, you hook your safety chains to it, or some of the bike racks like you to have a strap around your bikes into that, or something along those lines. Now this hitch is going to offer us a 200-pound tongue weight rating and a 2,000-pound gross trailer weight rating. You will, of course, want to look into the owner's manual on the Optima. That way you'll make sure it can handle those rates. If not, go off of whichever of those numbers are the lowest. Now, a few measurements that are going to be helpful in selecting your ball mount or maybe bike rack will be from the ground to the inside top edge of the receiver tube opening. It's about 10.25 inches. Then from the center of our hitch pin hole to the outermost edge of our bumper, it's about 3. Now, the first step in our install is to lower our exhaust system. Before we do, we're going to want to support the exhaust using a strap. We just use a cam buckle strap here. You can use wiring, like some heavy baling wire, something like that if you've got it. Whatever the case may be, you just want to have some support here so when this comes down, it's not hanging on its own. We'll then start pulling our exhaust hangers. Right here, we're going to have a bolt that runs right through the bottom of this rubber isolator. We'll remove that. Now we're going to be reusing these, so hang on to them. And then we'll remove the 2 here in the back as well. There's going to be one right here on the top of the driver's side isolator. You see how that starts to come down? And same spot over here on the passenger side. And for a little more room, we can just loosen our strap up, and we'll let that come down just a little bit and free up plenty of space for us to work. Now we'll take care of our heat shield removal. We've got one here on the driver's side, one on the passenger side. They're held in with 4 nuts. We got 1, 2, 3, and then right inside, right on the side of the trunk pan here, we've got number 4. So let's get these taken out. Pull that down, and out of the way. Now let's head over to the passenger side. We'll do the same thing there. Now with those out of the way, it's going to give us a real good look at the foam pads that are going to be covering our holes that we're going to use to install our hitch. We want to just get these pulled down. We'll remove them. We just want to clean that area up so our hitch has a nice flat spot to sit up against. Now we'll go to the driver's side, remove the same pads in the same location. All right, nice and clean. Now if we take a look here, on some models you're going to have an access hole right here in the back that we'll be able to get our hardware up and in. That's just not the case with our Kia today. So we're going to come not in the rear hole, not in the small one, but in that very frontmost hole that we took the pad off of. We're just going to kind of elongate that hole a little bit to allow our spacer block and bolt to go through. Looks like that'll be plenty of room for our block and also our bolt. So now let's go over to the passenger side and take care of that. All right, perfect. Now we can get our hardware put in place. Now for our hardware, we're going to use our rearmost hole here and the front hole there that we just enlarged. What we'll do is stick our fish wire into our rear hole here. Then we'll just look for it here in our access hole. And once it comes out, what we're going to do is feed on our 1/2-inch spacer block here. And then also one of the 1/2-inch carriage bolts. Then we'll feed these in separately. Get our block up through. Follow that with the bolt, and then we'll pull it right here to the rear. As you'll see, it'll come right down out of there for us. Now we'll pull our fish wire off. Now that's kind of the standard fish wire technique. The next technique we're going to do is kind of like a reverse pull. So what we'll do, same style, the block's going to go on, our bolt's going to go on, but we're not going to feed it through the frame rail first. So what we want to do here is first feed our bolt up into the hole, push it in, then our block. Then once we've got them both in, we'll do just the same thing that we did over there, just pull it through. That'll have our 2 mounting locations on the driver's side, hardware installed. Let's go over to the passenger side and repeat that process. All right, with our hardware in place, we're ready to raise our hitch into position. Now when we raise our hitch into position, it's a good idea to get an extra set of hands, and we're just gonna work it right up over our exhaust here. Line up our carriage bolts so they'll come through our hitch openings. And then we'll take our 1/2-inch flange nut, and these are just going to get thread on. Now we can let the one we've got started on the passenger side kind of hold our hitch into position while we start our others over here on the driver's side. And then we'll head over and start our last one on the passenger side. All right, now with everything started, let's take a quick look at our hitch. We want to be sure that we've got it centered in our vehicle. Then we'll just tighten those fasteners down. All right, now we're ready to grab our torque wrench and torque those down to the specifications that we'll find in our instructions. All right, now with those torqued down, let's get our heat shield back up into position. We may need to maybe trim slightly. We're just gonna get it up here and check. Let's see. All right, with the exception of the big bolt, the carriage bolt and nut that's right here in the middle, it looks like everything's gonna line up really well. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna press in really firmly around the head of that bolt to where it kind of gives me a dent. You see that little dent? Now let's pull it back down. Here on the back side, it might be hard for you to see, but there's a little mark right there where that bolt was. Let's cut out right around that. All right, with that cleaned up, let's put it back in place, see if that gives us enough room. If not, we'll trim it again. Looks good. We're able to get all 4 of our studs started back through here. Just get our nuts and put them on. Now you can see this one here. It's not recessed quite far enough in there where we're going to be able to get our nut started. So what I'm going to do is just take my socket, stick it on there backwards. Just going to knock that up a little bit. That's about the same size as our washer. As you can see, that should allow us to get that nut started without any kind of an issue. Perfect. Back in there, nice and secure. We're ready to get the other side taken care of as well. Now it's time to get our exhaust hangers put back into place. So we'll just take one of the bolts that we removed, lift it right up into position. Be sure you get it started really well, and then we'll just tighten it right down. All right, and we go do the same thing for our other two. And finally, our last one will be right here in the middle. All right, now we'll loosen our strap up and remove it. We don't want to drag that along with us. And that's all there is to the installation. Nice, secure, and ready to go. With the exhaust back in place, that's going to complete today's installation of the CURT Custom Fit Trailer Hitch Receiver, part number C11025 on our 2014 Kia Optima.